All right. Let's start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Plagues Slack Not. When I got up this morning, a title came into my mind, The Prophecy Slack Not. And I searched that because I remember hearing it, but what it is the plagues slack not, which is written in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37, where it says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." And pretty much you can apply these plagues to the prophecies, because the plagues in certain cases represent the missiles, and sometimes in certain cases it represents famine, death, the sword. The different prophecies of the end time that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai said would come upon this earth. And as I was setting up, just before I started setting up, I thought about the book of Psalms, the 149th chapter, and other scriptures that go along with slavery, because that is a part of the prophecies that are coming. That is a part of our blessing, that we'll receive from the Lord when we read Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 to 14. That tells us of all the blessings that we will receive, and part of our blessings are slaves. That's not something that's really spoken of. None of these churches, none of these so-called institutions of higher learning, religious places of worship, or whatever you want to call them, do not speak about these things, because these things are taboo. They're not to be mentioned. They don't want to know about that. But we have to speak about we have to declare the whole roll, the whole book, everything that's written within, regardless of how controversial it may be. So Lord's willing, this lesson, it'll be edifying. I wanted to read through the book of 2nd Ezra 16 before I started, but I know I'm cutting it a little close with the time, because usually on Sundays I have a certain routine that I do, so I'm just trying to go as long as I can with this lesson until I have to take care of other stuff that I have to take care of. So Lord's will, this will be edifying. So let's read that again and then take it from there. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 37. "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." Because the Lord said that at the end of everything, that when this world was coming to an end, there would be certain signs and tokens that would be taking place on the earth. So let's go to 2nd Ezra 9 and 1. It says, He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself." So what does that mean? The measuring of the time diligently means by looking at or reading through the scriptures and reading about the prophecies and reading about the things that are to come and reading about the end of the world. There are certain things that would take place, in the world, to let us know that the end is coming closer and closer. So when we see these things, measure the time diligently. In other words, now we know that our salvation is nearer than when we believed, because we see the things playing out on the earth exactly as they were spoken in the scriptures, in some cases thousands of years ago, which pretty much most of these prophecies are thousands of years old, and even the prophecies we see coming to pass today are thousands of years old. So we read in Luke 21:25, it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. So we have distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. And we see that happening right now. You know, throughout the whole planet Earth, we see distress of nations, we see perplexities. You know, we see uproars of the people, which that's going to be the next, or that's going to be the precept we're reading. And we see these things happening. And what is coupled with all of that? Famines, death, you know, thirst, destruction, these different military groups coming up against, you know, the people that fear the Lord, which are set up for that purpose itself. Now, people think that we're crazy, but it is written that there's going to be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So what does that mean? See, people, they just blurt out of their mouth whatever they hear on television or on the radio, because at the end of the day, most of these people are nothing more than meat puppets. You know, they're nothing more than parrots that just speak without even thinking. When we read the scriptures give us clear-cut evidence of things that would be taking place on the earth prior to the Lord coming. So if that's the case, and we see these things happening right now that the Lord spoke of 2,000 years ago and even before that, what does that mean? That means that the end is coming closer and closer. You know, that's why it says the lesson is the plagues slack not, you know, which the plagues also are prophecies. All right, so let's go back. Verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Yeah, because you have these superpowers that are ruling this world, that are puffing at each other, that are puffing at other people, that are flexing their military might, you know, their weapon muscles, you know, and they are not worried, or should I say, are not focused on the coming of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That was a beautiful sounding bird that was just chirping or singing. You know, so they're more concerned about the physical things, you know, than the spiritual things. They're more concerned about what they got going on today with the problems of so-called economy or military might on the earth. They're not concerned with a threat coming from outer space, although they are setting things up, Star Wars programs, they have the Space Force and all that, but they're not really thinking about that. So when they see these things happening and the powers of heaven shaken, and they see that their laser technology and their missiles do not work against the Lord, they're going to be horrified. They're going to be horrified just at the vision of it, but then they're going to try to fight, because the scriptures say they were a fighter, and yet there's fight. All right, so let's read on. It says, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, which is what? Yahushua coming in a chariot. And that chariot is going to serve for two purposes. The one purpose is to deliver the elect, and the other purpose is to kick nothing but booty, kick Esau in the ass and the other nations, and the destruction of 2/3 of the nation of Israel here on the soils of America. Let's see what else we have there. It says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So we were given a blueprint of what to look for prior to these things happening. And everything in the blueprint is playing out just as it says in the script. We're just going through the playback of the movie, because the script was written, the actors were already chosen, everyone was casted for their part, and now the movie is just well on its way. You know, it's just playing back what was already recorded. Because when you have a producer or director, whatever the case is, somebody comes up with a storyline, and what do? They have a vision of something, and they find the right actor, so on and so forth. And then what do? Once they get everybody and everybody practices their line, they start shooting. And after they shoot, they take all of that film and put it all together and make their movie. And then present their movie once their movie is all put together. Well, right now the movie's put together and it's just playing back on a big reel from heaven, so to speak. You know? So now let's go from there. Let's go back to 2 Ezra chapter 9 and 1. It says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou diligently. He answered then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And that's how we measure the time. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, meaning what? When you see these things happening, especially in these times, because you got to remember that in history, there's always been wars. There have always been famines. There have always been uproars of the people. There have always been different things that the prophecies speak about. They've always been around. That's why a certain time zone or certain times in the past, they thought that the end of the world was coming at their time. But never have these prophecies played out on the level that they're playing out now, especially now. You know, this year being 2020, the year of prophecy, as coined by Elder Apostle Tahar through the Spirit, you know, and now we see that these things are coming in clusters, in bunches. It's not just one thing and then things die down. It's one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, without any of the other stuff dying down. But there's so much going on that certain things take a back seat. You know, just like you have, you know, breaking news, and whatever was happening that day that they were reporting on takes a back seat to everything because of the breaking news. Well, there's breaking news damn near every day this year so far. All right. It says, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest, which is the Most High Yahweh, will begin to visit the world which he made. Why? Because there is a visitation upon this place. And one of the visitations, it said there's going to be a visitation upon the idols. Because through the idols of Esau and the other nations is how the world has become deceived. And when you look at the average person out there, whether they're Israelites, you know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, or wherever they may be scattered, whatever they look like, or any other nation, everyone is bowing down to an idol in some shape, form, or fashion. And that is the truth. And the main idol they're worshiping is the ways of Esau, which they're paying homage to their God, which is Satan, on the left-hand side. Oh, and by the way, just as a footnote, the picture of Caesar Borgia is not the image of the beast. I repeat, the picture of Caesar Borgia is not the image of the image of the beast. I repeat, the image of Caesar Borgia is not the image of the beast. That was an old breakdown that goes back, you know, years ago, but that is not the image of the beast. So brothers out there that's teaching that, stop teaching that. The image of Caesar Borgia is not the image of the beast. Okay? That goes into something totally different, dealing with the Roman structure and how they set everything up. So now, this is how the Lord is visiting the world by all these different prophecies. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, not in a country, not in a town, not in a city, not on a continent, but in the world, all around the world. When you see these things happening, then shalt thou well understand. See, it's about understanding. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And that's why the scriptures speak about the Lord speaking of these things before they come to pass, and him telling us before they come to pass, and setting up certain men like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Obadiah, Ezekiel, Micah, Malachi, Zechariah, Zephaniah, Obadiah, you know, Isaiah, just different prophets telling of different things that would be happening in these last days. Yahweh Shai himself being the top prophet. the son of the Most High, the top prophet, because he was prophesying of all different type of things that were coming. You know? So it says, I read that again. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Because where do the prophets go back to? They go back to the beginning, as is stated in Luke, the 1st chapter and the 70th verse. So the prophets have been here from the beginning. When Adam was doing what he was doing, the prophets were back then. That's why it said he heard the voice of the Lord in the cool of the day. So it says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and ending in effects and signs. So we're seeing the signs and the effects taking place. This is why it's important to understand, about the new moon. It's important to understand about what does it mean by solar eclipses and lunar eclipses and so-called shooting stars and alignments of planets and all of that. What do those things mean? Now, we don't know specifically verbatim what they mean, but we know that it is a sign to us that the Lord is about to make his second coming. And that's why it's important to know of these things, because the sun, the moon, the stars, the constellations of the heavens were set there for signs, seasons, days, and years. Not only for telling time, but also to predict future events. And this is why you had the tribe of Issachar that would watch the moons and the constellations of the stars, and they would report different things. They would report when the new moon was coming in, when feast days were coming in, when a certain event was about to take place, when they were going to have a good crop, bad crop, so on and so forth, based off of the lights in the heavens and the order and the things that they would do. All right, it says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you have believed, because faith without works is dead. You have these so-called wacky-tacky Christians, I'm not sure the denominations, but you have certain ones of them that say that you are only saved by faith. And that's why one of the reasons why they discard the Apocrypha, because they say that the Apocrypha teaches that you will be saved by works. We just read it says by works and by faith. And in the same Bible that they claim to believe in the book of James, the 2nd chapter, it says that faith without works is dead. So who are we to believe? Are we to believe the doctrine of men, or are we to believe what the Lord said? See, people just repeat stuff that they hear. It's very rare you have someone actually go and dig and do some research, especially among Jake, to find out if these things are so. And before they open up their yap and just start yapping. It says, shall be preserved. So let me read that again. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby you have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, because Yahushua is coming to grab us and bring us back to the land. That's when we'll be saved, when we hit the chariots. When we get inside the chariots, if Lord's will we be the elect, we'll be saved. Then the next step is what? Going to the land of Israel. After the metamorphosis, so like I had to throw a big word in there. After we are changed, which is just a fancy way of saying changed. After we are changed to what the Lord promises. All right? And then we'll be going where? To our land, which is what? The land of Israel. So there's nothing in the prophecy that says that the children of Israel are going to go and return back to their land and proclaim to the world that they are the people of the Lord. Damn, man. Crazy shit. Anyway, Satan jumping on everybody. It says, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning, because that was a promise that was made to Abraham. Then shall they be in pitiful case. Okay, so that's going into something else. I mean, it's still good, but I want to jump back to 2nd Ezra 16, because I have a couple of more precepts that I had written down, which Lord's will we can get to. Damn, man. Anyway, let's go back to 2nd Ezra 16, and let's start at 17. I mean, we read through this before, but hey, we'll read it again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Because the times that are coming are going to be very devastating. It says, the fire is kindled, the beginning of sorrows, see, and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Did we not just read about this, where the powers of heaven shall be shaken? The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Why? Because he wanted to be protected from the evils that were coming, from these bad times that were coming, from these perilous times that were coming. It says, behold, famine, and Salaki, it's pretty bright out here, so I can't really read any comments. You know, I'm pretty sure brothers are putting scriptures and stuff. I can't really read them because it's so bright. And shalom to the Akim and the Akwaf that are on there that are sincere. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So what we're seeing is the world being wicked. The Lord is sending these things as amendments. And the only ones that are going to repent are the elect of the nation of Israel. And that's it. The rest of the people are not going to repent, and that's why they will be destroyed. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah, and that's why you see places like Haiti that got rocked by that earthquake. I believe that was 05, if I'm not mistaken. And what happened? For a while, they kind of was cool. They was trying to go to church. They was trying to seek the Most High. And what happened? After a while, when things got so-called back to normal, they went right back to the bullshit they were doing. Louisiana, I'm not sure if that was 05 also, when the levees broke. That whole situation got destroyed. Jake was trying to get right, so to speak. And what happened? Once everything went back to so-called normal, they went right back to doing the same old shit. So they're not going to be mindful. And there are many, many examples, you know, that can be used to show that Jake will get right for the moment. It might last a week, it might last a month, it might last a couple of months. Hell, it might even last a year, but after a while, Jake is going to go right back to sleep. For the most part, it says, behold, victuals, which is food, shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And we're in that time. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, because that's what's coming. Because remember, when people are hungry, that causes great confusion. You start hallucinating, you know, and the only thought in your mind is to get something in your gut so that your body can stop eating itself. So there's going to be great confusion and famine. You know, these people out here, you know, they fan their hand because when the shutdown started, then they probably listen, oh shit, oh man, first couple of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, and after a while they're like, man, these guys are full of shit, man. They ain't gonna stop them, man. I still go to Piggly Wiggly, man. I still go to A&P, or I still whatever other supermarkets are open. You know, I go to Walmart, man. Get me a watermelon, or get me, you know, some grapes, or give me some apples, or some chicken, or whatever, you eat. But there's gonna come a point where these things are gonna shut down, because you notice that all of these mom and pop stores are shutting down. They're trying to shut the restaurants down because the restaurants are an easy way for people to get food. But now if you can control the flow of food through the government, now people are forced to come to you to get their food. And this is what the whole welfare system was all about, getting people dependent on the government for everything, and not to be self-sufficient, not to be so-called independent, you know, because they have a plan. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, because there's going to be many, many deaths. There's going to be a lot of death. This is prior to the missiles and the lasers from the chariots. There's going to be death in the world. Remember, the scriptures say that a time of trouble is coming. You know, that shall take hold of the whole world. It says, and there shall be no man to comfort them, because no man shall save them. For the earth shall be wasted and the cities shall be cast down. And we're at the beginning stages of that. Once this whole thing shifts, and this could take place right around the time when, if they do, which is looking like they're doing it, going for the second wave of this coronavirus, that's really when it could really hit really bad, especially towards the winter time, And the elder Apostle Tar said this maybe 3 months ago. You got about 6 months, pretty much before they really start locking shit down, which makes sense because you see the things happening again, and you see how they shut down the first time and what happened. So this time is going to be even more major. Now, let's say the 6 months come up and nothing happens, then they're going to do it eventually. But you're noticing a change every day that goes by, every week that goes by, every month that goes by. There's a change, and the change that is happening is they're putting a stranglehold on the world. They're putting a stranglehold on the people of the world. And if you can't see that, then either you're blind or you're just an asshole agent that has an agenda that your elites paid you to do. And these spies and these agents that infiltrate groups, they don't really get paid that much. So you got to be a real demon to do that. This guy Joe Pistone, the movie Donnie Brasco. I believe he was 6 years undercover. He damn near lost his family, lost his woman, lost his children. Almost lost everything. And you know what they gave him at the end of the movie? They gave him a $500 check for all that undercover work for 6 years. Now you tell me that's not a slap in the face. So these agents are a bunch of goddamn dummies, because they're infiltrating things and they're not really getting paid that much to do that. That's just a side note. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. Why? Because things are going to get shut down. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. Why? Because of the fact that they're going to be shutting these cities down. You see what they're doing with the farms. And I said this in another lesson through the Spirit. When a situation happens, it doesn't shut everything down right away. What you see going on at the farms this year, people thinking, oh man, this should have already affected everybody. It ain't affected nobody. Get out of it. They have surplus, man. But once that surplus starts running low or running out, that's when you're going to start feeling the crunch, because guess what? The stuff that was on the shelf that's flying off the shelf is not going to be able to be replenished because there's nothing to replenish it. So you have a surplus. That's why you have warehouses. But once those surpluses run out and the warehouses start getting low and they can't restock it, what's going to happen? You're going to see the effect in these different major cities, especially the major cities. Yeah, you're gonna feel this. You people out there that ridicule the Lord and His Word and His men, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna actually feel it. You're gonna actually be a part of these prophecies that we're speaking of right now. And I'm gonna jump back up, I'm gonna jump back to where I'm at, but I just want to jump up to the 37th verse again and read that. Behold, the plagues draw nigh. So we're reading about these plagues. When you go to the first verse on down, it speaks about the plague of the missiles. Then as you read further down, it speaks about these different plagues, of the prophecies, the famines, the death, so on and so forth. So it says, behold, the plagues draw nigh, because they're drawing near. Because why? It is time for these plagues to speak, and are not slack, because they're not slacking now. Let's go real quick to the book of Habakkuk. Brothers that's been in here for a while are very familiar with this book. You're very familiar with the second chapter. It's a chapter we go to often because it says a whole lot. Habakkuk 2:1. I will stand upon my watch. Who is it speaking? This is the prophet Habakkuk. And this is what the prophets do. They stand on the tower because they are the watchmen. Matter of fact, that's another one I have. Let me get that. Hold on to that. and read that. Hold that. Read that. Isaiah 64. I'm sorry, 62. Let me hold that and then I'll come back. So let's read that again. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. Let me see, there's a precept for tower there. It says fenced place. Yep. And that was, in the ancient world, you had cities, you had walls, and you had towers. And the watchman would sit on that tower and watch for the enemy to come. And if the enemy did come, he would blow the trumpet. And he wouldn't blow some party song. He would blow an alarm of war where the people knew to get ready for war. He wasn't whistling Dixie. And will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And that's what, we are to do. We hear the prophecies of the Lord and we speak the prophecies of the Lord. And we're not seeing the visions like the men in the past did. We believe we are the prophets, but we don't see those visions like the prophets seen in the past. All we're doing now is pretty much reporting what was already written. It says, and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Yeah, because you hear, you study, you read, and then you go out and you speak, teach, and warn. It says, for the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. And that's why these visions were written. And why was it written? To glorify Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So that man can say, well, my idol told me that. My idol did this. No, it was the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that spoke of it in the past. And it's happening now. So that he can get the glory. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So what does it mean by an appointed time? Matter of fact, let's look up that word appointed. Oh, snap. I let go of that. Let me go back. Just grab that again. Put that here. Let's go to Habakkuk 2 and 3. And let's look up the word appointed. Just bear with me. Habakkuk. Oops. Habakkuk chapter 2. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. And the word that we're looking for is the word appointed time. It's mawa'ida, or mawa'ida. It says an appointment. Yeah, because when you make an appointment, what do you have? You have to schedule an appointment. And there's a certain date that the appointment comes. So the Lord has an appointment with this place. That's what we read in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, that when the Lord is getting ready to visit the world that he made, when he get ready to make that appointment or fulfill that appointment, these things such and such will be happening. It says properly an appointment that is a fixed time or season, and we're at that fixed time or season. It says specifically a festival, conventionally a year, by implication an assembly as convened for a definite purpose, technically the congregation, by extension the place of meeting, also a signal as appointed beforehand, which are what? The prophecies of the Lord. And that's pretty much the main point. It says also a signal as appointed beforehand. So this signal has been appointed beforehand of what? Of these prophecies that we see speaking right now, loud and clear. Lost my place. Here we go. Let's go back. Let's read that again. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. What vision? These prophecies. But at the end it shall speak. And what does it mean? At the end it shall speak, meaning that the things that the Lord said would happen would start happening, which would make the words of the Most High start speaking in the earth by the earthquakes, by the storms, by the famines, by the uproars of the people, by all of the things that the Lord spoke of in the past and prophesied in the past. It says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Why? Because the Most High is not a man that he should lie. Though it tarry, meaning though it seem like it's taking a long time, wait for it, because it will not tarry. It will, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Yeah, we're at the point now where it's not tarrying. I mean, there was a point in time when we were out there, speaking, that it was tarrying, you know. But the Lord said, wait for it, for it will not tarry. It will short. Now we're at the point where it's not tarrying. So it's easier in these days to believe the words of the Lord because of the signs that are being played out on the earth. But there was a point where there was nothing really happening. Little stuff here and there would happen. You know, you would look and be like, oh, snap. Then everything would just die right back down, you know. But now it's just popping one after the other. So that's what the Lord said, wait for it, for it will surely come. It will not tarry. So that's the main point. Now, let's go to Isaiah 62:6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. And you see that happening. You know, the prophets are out there speaking, and in some cases, you see, you know, the videos playing day and night. And this is the Lord's doing, where you could record a video at 2 in the morning, and then comes 12 o'clock in the afternoon, someone somewhere on the earth is watching that video. And then come 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that night, you have someone else in another part of the world watching that same video, speaking about the same exact thing, which is the words of the Lord going out. So the Lord said that I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. Why? Because the sooner these prophecies come to pass, the sooner the Lord will come and destroy this place. But we can't go out there, so you know what, I'm gonna prophesy 24 hours a day so the Lord could come quicker. No, the Lord got his set time. He says, wake not my love until he be pleased. But still, in all, we still go out and we still preach these words. We still teach this word. It says, and give him no rest. Give who no rest? The Most High. By constantly going out here, by constantly reminding him, Lord, come deliver us. Lord, come save us. Come deliver us. Come help us. You know, take this devil down. This devil is evil. This devil is wicked. Let them do what they got to do so that you can step in and come and deliver us. You know, don't leave us in this condition. Don't leave us in this situation. Deliver us soon. It says the Lord and give him no rest till he establish and till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth, because right now we're not a praise in the earth. And this proves that those people in the land of Israel are not the people of the Lord. Why? Because no one is praising them. No one's praising Jerusalem. I mean, you have people that are so-called defending it because they're afraid to be blacklisted, like your Nick Cannons and your different celebrities that have come out, your Professor Griffs and your other individuals that have come out that have been blacklisted or have been, you know, called anti-Semitic, to where most of them tuck tail and run. No, it's going to be a praise to where people are going to be happy and glad. The scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So are the people today mourning for the most part, or are they rejoicing for the most part? They're mourning. So if they're mourning, who's in control? The wicked. And the Bible tells us that the Edomites are the wicked. And when we look on the planet Earth, who is in control? Who is in charge? Come on, man. That's a simple one right there. All right, now let's go back to 2 Ezra 16. 2 Ezra 16 and 27. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of a field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. And some of them people, some of these jakes that run out into the woods and hide, the Lord said that the wild animals are going to get certain of them. You know? And they show you that, a little bit of that in the movie, the first movie back in 87, I believe it was, Red Dawn, where they ran into the woods to hide. It says, as in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives, or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Yeah, because even these houses, especially in the cities, man, they're going to be desolate because people are going to break north, and a lot of people are going to be taken into them concentration camps. And you're going to have stragglers around, like as you see in the movie The Road, searching, going through houses, searching for food, searching for fuel, searching for whatever, batteries, candles, matches, whatever they can use for survival, knives, weapons. They're not going to be looking for money. It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. And you see that if you leave a certain city unattended, without having people maintain it, you see after a while vines and different things, weeds and all that growing out, or the pavement growing on buildings, you know. So you have to have a constant maintenance of a city, otherwise it'll grow over, because this was a wilderness before they put this concrete jungle in it. It says because no man shall travel there through. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. And we're coming into this time right now where the virgins are going to mourn, having no bridegrooms. Why? Because a lot of these men are going to be put to death. Remember, the prophecy says that 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. And at this time, it's not going to be about having a prestige, or being an actor or a singer or a rapper, you know, or a comedian or a basketball player or some type of celebrity. It's not going to be about, somebody, a woman looking at somebody, a man, and thinking that he's fine or whatever the case is. It's going to be about survival of the fittest. That, because when it all goes down, a woman jumps behind the man for protection, and the scriptures tell us that. That's what the scriptures say. These women rise up, ye women that are at ease, because these troubled times are coming. And they have painted these women, especially the black women and the women of the other tribes, as these strong women that don't need a man, that they just got it all together. But when anything breaks out, what's the first thing they do? Jump behind a man. And they're gonna be, and you had this one woman, she was kind of fine too. She was doing a video. She said, I'm tired of being strong. You know, I need a man, to be strong for me. And these women are gonna get out of that feminist spirit. They're gonna get out of that Miss Independent spirit, and they're gonna go back to what they were meant to be a woman. The word woman means servant. Because when a woman is born, who is she a servant to? Her father. That's why she has her father's last name. And when she gets married, she takes on her husband's last name. She becomes her husband's servant. And the woman is going to be looking for someone to protect her, especially when the majority of these men out here, a lot of these men out here are going to be put to death, are going to be locked up in these concentration camps. They're going to be looking for somebody to protect them. That's why it says, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name. Let us come up under your hedge. This is Isaiah chapter 32 and 2. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind. What is the wind? This devastation, this destruction, these prophecies. So it says a man is going to be as a hiding place from the wind. Meaning whenever there's a strong wind, some type of storm or something that's coming, what are people looking for? They're looking for shelter. So when all hell breaks loose, these women are going to be looking for somewhere to be sheltered. It says, and a covert from the tempest, meaning a covering, as rivers of waters in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So they're going to be looking for a shadow. They're going to be looking for a hedge. They're going to be looking for a covert or covering to give them relief from the fear and the agony and the things that are going to be going on in the world. And it's not going to be like, oh girl, he kind of ugly, no, that one over there, he fine, I take him any day. No, it ain't going to be none of that shit. They're going to get with the man that they see that the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai is with, regardless of if the brother look like Genuine or Shabba Ranks. Or my man Pachanga, Louis, whatever the hell his name is, from the movie Carlito's Way. They're not gonna give a damn as long as they're protected. All that bullshit about, you know, looking for a good man, looking for, you know, a Denzel Washington with an Arnold, you know, with a Denzel Washington face with an Arnold body and all that shit. That shit is all bullshit. Because at the end of the day, a woman's gonna be looking to save their skanky ass hide. You know, I'm sorry I have to say it that way, but that's the truth. And the woman was created to be the weaker vessel. And there was a reason why he made men and women the way that they are. But in this society, they fucking put testosterone in the food. They put estrogen in the food. And they formulate it in a way to where the testosterone hits the women and the fucking estrogen hits the men. And that's why you see these men walking around floating, broke wrists, you know, and all that. Hovering around like a bunch of homos, you know, walking and mincing like a woman does. And then you see these women acting like fucking butches, you know, looking at you like, I'd knock you out. I dare you to say something to me. I dare you to look at my woman. Man, all of this shit's gonna be put out the door. And you butchers out there, you're gonna just be put to death. You're just gonna be put to death, man. You know, now some of you women that are like feminine, but you lesbians, you know, some of you the Lord's gonna allow to repent. But you fucking butchers out there, you studs, the Most High is gonna kill all of you, man. At least you repent, you know? But that's a fucking demon that's on these women like that, to act that way. Just like these men. All that shit's gonna be put down, man. And truth is gonna prevail, man. All right, now let's go back to 2nd Ezra 16. Yeah, because that's one thing in this society, man. These women are totally out of order in this society. Totally out of order in this society. And a lot of you women that call yourself Israelite sisters, a lot of you are out of fucking order too. Get on the comment board telling them brothers, oh yeah, you should go to this scripture, you should go to that scripture, you should I would have said this, you should have said that. Man, shut the fuck up. You're the fucking reason we're here in the first place. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. You're the fucking reason why we're here. And the reason why a lot of these men are locked up in the fucking jails is because you women. And what do? You skate off into the sunset. You have two men fighting over you. One of them kills the other one. One of them is in the grave. The other one's in the grave of the jail. And then what are you doing? You're hopping up on another man's rod and starting that whole fucking cycle all over again. That shit is gonna stop. I don't remember who mentioned this. Elder Apostle Gabar knows who mentioned this. But you women are gonna stop riding that fucking cock carousel. Leaving men whenever you want, popping this one and popping that one, and no. That shit is gonna stop. And this fucking devil that's enabling you to do that, the Most High gonna take this goddamn devil out, man. And you simps, forget about it. You're gonna be taken out the way, man. It'll be a glorious day when you motherfuckers go. It makes no goddamn sense, man. You fucking simp, you fucking wimpy ass pussy begging motherfuckers, man. Sick of you motherfuckers, man. You're the reason why I can't get no good service at McDonald's. just inside joke. That was some clown that was cursing us out. So like I had to throw a little levity in there, but it's the truth, man. You fucking pussy begging motherfuckers, man. You know, like you're gonna die if you don't get no fucking pussy. You fucking simp. Sick of you motherfuckers too, man. Every time you see something going on, oh sister, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. And whenever you see a video of a woman either singing or whatever, oh, you so beautiful, oh my goodness, oh you, and if I had you, oh my God, oh Lord, I would give the world. Man, shut the fuck up, man. You fucking pieces of shit. Oh man, that shit fucking irks me, man. It says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. And that's what's going to happen. That's why women are going to be looking. Matter of fact, let me read that 33rd verse again. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husband. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Like I said, these women are going to be looking to be protected. That's why we read in Isaiah 4 and 1. Matter of fact, before we go to Isaiah 4 and 1, let's go to Isaiah 3 and 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. So we're reading the same exact thing in the Apocrypha. So it says, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. This is when you women are going to be totally humble. Because as long as this society is going, as long as you can play these games on men, as long as these simps keep giving you money to buy you cars and clothes and do your nails and your hair and all that shit, you know, and buy you, you know, pay for your rent and all this shit, you're going to keep on doing what you're doing. But let your ass be in a destitute place. Then what? What are you going to do then? You're going to want to get in order. Now let's go to Isaiah 4:1. And because of these wars and these men being killed in these wars and these and being locked up in these concentration camps, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. It ain't gonna be like, oh no, I ain't sharing my man. Look, an Israelite man is meant to have more than one woman. And you women out there that, nah, well, I don't know about all that. I hear everything else y'all said. I could accept that, but I can't accept sharing my man. Look, you're gonna get in line, or your head's gonna fly off your shoulders. Because there ain't gonna be none of that bullshit. No. And you women are gonna get in order overnight. You ain't gonna buck up. Because if minute one hoe bucks up, and the Lord makes an example of that hoe, the rest of y'all gonna get in order. It says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. 7 women, 1 man. And the number 7 represents completion. It's not talking about just 7. It's talking about a complete amount of women are going to hold on to one man. Because that one man can pop 1,000 women and next year have 1,000 or 2,000 children, depending on if they have twins or not. A man brings back the nation, not a woman. A woman is a part of it, but the man's seed is what determines the nationality of that baby. And I know a lot of you hate that, but that's the truth. It says, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to what? To take away our reproach. And that's that shame. Because a woman is to go from her father's house to her husband's house. You know? And that's how she would have her reputation. Scriptures speak about a widow, you know, not to be taken under the age of 60. You know, if she has a good report, if she has raised her children, you know, because that reputation went a long way. You know, back then, you know, like today, you have these Queen Bees, you know, these Little Kims and Foxy Browns and these Nicki Minaj's and all these other hoes out here, that their whole thing is about, you know, being whores and having sex with as many men as they could. That's the reputation that they're pushing out to the rest of you women. That was a shameful reputation. And guess what? A hoe like that would have been put to death. And that was a shameful, reproachful name to have. But now a woman that had a good name, that had a good reputation, you know, that took care of her husband, that took care of her children, that took care of her household, that guided everything and raised her children well, instructed them well, you know, to the best of her ability. That was honorable. That's why the Apostle Paul said that these type of women would be taken into, you know, washing the saints' feet and lodging them and doing those things, because that's what a widow would do. Because her husband was dead. So now she had this substance that she could help the men of the Lord with. But she had to be a woman of reputation. And she couldn't be under the age of 60. You think if you had an old 60-year-old hoe, you know, that they will go to her? Hell no. Everything is going to get put back in order, man. All right, so now let's go back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. There's a lot of meat in this. So now we understand what this means, 2nd Ezra 16:33. And I wasn't planning on going into the woman, but that's the spirit. We are guided by the spirit. 2nd Ezra 16:33, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And that's what's happening. You know, their husbands are going to perish of famine, of death, of being locked up in these concentration camps. Perilous times are coming. And one thing, you know, we know about women is that they like to be protected. They like to be comforted. They don't like hardship. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. See, now this is for you, servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Why? Because this new world order is based upon the gods of Esau and these other nations. And these jakes that are celebrities and well-to-do, what are they doing? They're pushing towards, you know, the gods of these nations because they want to live a comfortable life. That's why Nick Cannon, after he said what he said, what happened? Now he's retracting everything, writing a 9-page apology letter and saying he's sorry. They don't give a damn. The damage is done already. You out, dog. The only way you can get back in there now is if they Chris Brown you, or if they Dave Chappelle you, or any of the other celebrities that try to pop up and bite the hand that feed them and do all kinds of shit, and then be able to get back, you know, in their so-called good graces. So you're gonna have to do some serious. You already did things. You're gonna have to do some serious things again, even more, to get back in there in the loop. You ain't just gonna be able to walk off into the sunset just by saying sorry. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, and that's what's happening. We're seeing all these plagues drawing nigh, and the ultimate plague is going to be those missiles and the lasers from the chariots. But everything else, the concentration camps, the martial law and all that, that's all a part of it. The mark of the beast, which is the microchip, that is a big part of this whole story, this whole movie. It says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack upon the earth. So now I got a quick precept, and then I'm gonna read a couple more verses. I have more scriptures, but I'm gonna end it here once I read this precept and a little more in 2 Ezra 16, because like I said, I got a roll. Stayed a little longer than expected, but hey, who can resist the spirit? For that. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 1. It says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because they were already trained in this. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as what? As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So these things are coming as a woman that travail with child. And what is this travailing? These are the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that have made the world pregnant, so to speak. And now the world is about to give birth to the Lord's words, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and that's why it's going through these contractions. So going back to 2 Ezra 16, and let's read that again. It says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. And that's why it says that, you know, once a seed is planted in the earth, when it comes time for the fruit to come out, the earth can't hold it back. The tree can't hold it back. The vine can't hold it back. It's going to come out. It's going to give the fruit. It can't hold it back. So right now, the earth is giving birth to the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and it can't be held back because it's time. That's why it's going through the travail. That's why it's going through the contractions and the birth pains. That's why we see in the prophecies popping off all over the place, because it's that time. It's time for, you know, a change, and a change is going to come. And the change that's coming is going to be a good change, because it's going to be done in righteousness, not in this wicked, filthy society that we have here. Let's see. Oh, my people, hear my word and make you ready to the battle. So prepare. And how do you make ready for the battle? By putting on your garments, which is this truth. And that's how you become prepared, because mentally we're prepared. It doesn't mean go out there and get a gun or none of that stuff. It means prepare mentally, spiritually. It says, and in those evils, meaning these things that are coming, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. See? Be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And you brothers could read the rest. You know, it goes into more. But the plagues are not slacking, which is these prophecies. Another word for the plagues are the prophecies. They're not slacking. They're actually coming to pass. Everything is happening the way the Lord said it would happen. And we're just witnessing, you know, these things taking place upon the earth. You know? So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.